Oh, well. Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are in these wonderful times, this great place in Orange County. Um, Today we have to kind of look at things in a very substantial ways because there are many things they kind of constantly popping up. My name is Massimo Navarrete. I am a citizen of the United States, one from Italy, born and raised in the old country down south, and also after many years of illegal status, I became an American citizen. Very proud to be so. I did it with most amazed excitement because I truly believe that this is one of the finest places on earth. There are many beautiful places in the world. We don't have to always put one against the others, but as far as the things that makes humanity splendid, it's actually one of the finest country that is. And even though we constantly fight with ourselves, because that's how you make a better society. Even though we always find ways to undermine ourselves and downgrade our qualities, we also have a tendency to upgrade and learn from our mistake. That is all wonderful. And, one of the difficult things about nowadays to have a conversation with people is because the art of communication has kind of sink down to a low denominator where people tended to want to be in some kind of specific corner. We call the days of the expert. So if you're not an expert, you cannot talk. Um, Long are gone the days where you could have a conversation and even uninformed, ignorant people could sit on the table and have something to say. That is a beautiful, amazing, wonderful way to live our life. So if we don't have those kind of opportunities, if we don't have this ability to have a conversation with one another, and then some people will just retract themselves in the corner somewhere, and they found constantly themselves either frustrated, alienated, uh, or just alienated or just excluded from the general conversations. Why I'm going there in the world? Because we have to realize something basic here. There's a metaphor. If you always think about the worst of things, the worst of things will happen because that's the only thing you know. If you think about the happy things, something happy will happen because you are predisposed, you put yourself in a place where good things can come to you. So, should we always be hopefully positive and just a bunch of happy lunatics, or we just walk around with the heads down and being pessimist because the world around us is crumbling? And none of the two things are true. You know, when I was growing up, my grandmother used to tell us a story, and the story were pretty much the fables that we all kind of know, the Red Riding Hood and the Cinderellas and all that. And today, in this new society where everybody suddenly wake up, I had never understood the idea of the concept of being woke because I thought we always were. Every morning we all get up and walk. But apparently, there's a brand new society out there. They were sleeping for centuries and they wake up and they suddenly decided that whatever we done before, it really sucked, and we should just learn how to be the new citizens of this country. They set the pace, they set the argument, they set the discussion. They also set the parameters: what is right, what is wrong, what's acceptable, what is not acceptable. This is a if it wasn't true, if it wasn't damaging to the fabric of our society, it would be kind of cute. But it's not cute. It's insane. When I listened to my grandmother telling me the story of the Riding Hood, the Red Riding Hood, I never thought it was about little girls with the red things on a head and then the wolf was eating the grandma. I understood what the metaphor was all about. It was about warning us children to not walk alone in the woods or in a darkened place or a place we don't know and put ourselves in harm's way. It was a simple story. Yes, it scared the bejesus when you were little kids, but that was the point. The point was to warn you in a kind, gentle way and an imaginative way as well. So then, when somebody gets up in the morning on 2021 and start telling you there was misogynistic and there was animal cruelty and all the other stuff, you're just saying to yourself, what are you talking about? I gotta go check my coffee. Maybe I put something in there, some morphine or something weird, because I'm hearing things that are really weird, very strange. I want to have a conversation with people that make sense. Humans, for all intent and purpose, have done an incredible job from the cave to the golden age of the Greeks and the Roman Empire and all the cruelty and the insanity of a people descending from the royal bloods and sent by some mystical gods to rule over you or over me, to get finally to a place where we have represented democracies or represented republic or representing something where we, the people, have something to say about our life, that we can make a change to improve our life. We can go to a store and choose where we want a bottle of Chardonnay or a bottle of Pinot. Gone are the days where you walk into a store and you had one and two and that's it. If you only have to think about 60, 40, 50 years ago in East Europe, not even that long ago. Not even that long ago. I remember when I went to Poland or I went to Zagreb and there were dark days. There was nothing. You couldn't choose anything because the USSR decide where you live, die, or you're insignificant. So here they are, people out there every day talking about all this ism, capitalism, socialism, communism, as if those things are really well done little boxes where you can put somebody in it and somehow comes out on the other side this perfect object. Gentlemen, ladies, what makes anything, it's human. Humans are incredibly flawed. They're vain. They're narcissistic. They're egotistic. They're power hunger. And many times they're criminals. So why is that we continuously brand things as if the brand is the one who commit the crime, rather than the human or the person who's in charge who commits the crime? You know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, this whole thing started. Our government done so many things that are so different from what the conventional things. Some justified, some baffling. Realistically, we vote for people, we put them in charge. So we should make them accountable. That is the right things to do. But to give all our life, give all our responsibility to a government agency, it seems to me far exceed what our constitutional republic is about. The respect and the power of the individual is the key to a tranquility in our country, to a better unions, where people come to a place where they, with consensus, with discussions, with ideas, to find a better place, a better solution for the multitude, because we all have different needs, different wants, different desires. The metaphor is that if one king has all the answers, then what we do? We just say, yes, sir. And who's the king of my castles? Done are the days where we got to remember what we're fighting for here. We're fighting for a better country. We're fighting for a better society. We're fighting for justice. We fight for equity. But what does all that stuff means? When you actually threw in a basket and you start pulling them out, what does that mean? Sorry. Well, apparently, if you go into vocabulary, each one of those things has one meaning, but then you apply to each party and they have a different meaning. So let's slash couple tire here and start looking how we stop this freight train, go down to the canyon and kill us all. Our government has done a great job. They provide funding for people in need during this tragic time. One can argue how we should have done it or not done it. Well, it seems to me those days are there for people to discuss it in the right place and the right position and see the aftermath of what we've done. But let's leave that for aside for a moment, because it's really not relevant at this point. They do provide funding. Maybe too generous, maybe over the top. Well, okay. But then the administration before this one went on a incredible enterprise to create vaccines. So those came on board. Experimental, yes. But the vaccine was intended for people they needed. They were intended for give those people who had autoimmune disease a better chance. Many therapeutic available to people. So here we are, government done its job. But now we tell the government, tell us more. Tell us how to live our life. That is wrong. That is absolutely hard their jurisdiction. They do not have the power. We do. Our life is ours. We can decide which way we want to go. Well, they say, well, this is different. I hear an argument the other day, this is different. The metaphor was about the seatbelt. Another one was about the cancer is contagious to you, but not to others. This is silly. This is silly. This is insane. Absolutely insane. Because when we don't put things in perspective and understanding what things are for what they are, then we tend to make a very generic mistake and judgment, and suddenly we put everybody in classes. You got the yes and the no, the conservative and the liberal. I thought we all have the same goals here. They have a better governance. And in order to do that, you have to hold responsible the people in charge. You can't just give them more and more power. Because if you do, then stop complaining about what they're doing wrong. What they're doing wrong is we give them too much power they don't deserve, they don't need, they don't have. They don't have. Stop bending your knees. They're not royalty. They're representative. Here's the word they represent. Go look it up. They represent you and me. Stop considering them some special people. They're not special. You voted in. They came and kissed your ass for all year to convince you that they were the people that are going to do the job to make your life better, to make everybody around your life better, to make sure they will done the right thing. Stop giving them way too much power. Yes, here in California, we have a recall. Rightfully so. People got, whether you're right or wrong, agree, disagree, we have the right as a citizen to decide whether the people they're leading us in the right directions. That is democracy representations on its full bloom. And rather than people sit out there and whine about it, because you might like the governor or you might don't like the governor, embrace the fact that you have the ability to tell a representative, you're not doing a good job for me. You're not representing me. You're abusing your power by going to a place and have a dinner when you tell all my family and friends you cannot have a dinner. You cannot take your mask off. You cannot do this and you cannot do that. But then you do what the hell you want. I'm not envious. I'm not jealous. I'm pissed off, which is different. Because if we supposed to do all these things, why don't you? You're the first person who should be doing it for all of us. And if you're not, okay, explain why not. And when you come up with silly explanations, then you insulted the intelligence of many million people in this town. And then on top of that, you start telling the reason why they're recalling you is because what? Because the other party don't like you. No. No. The other party never liked you. That was never the point. In fact, you ran against them and won. So people agree with you. They liked you before. They recall you now because they don't like what you do. That, my friend, whether you like the man or not, whether you're going to vote for him or not, whatever it is, that is the right things to do. It's called representative democracy. We are being represented. We have a voice. My argument with people, and I have a resistance from my own friends and family, because when they say, well, you should never talk about politics, you should talk about wine and food. But guess what? What do you think in my business for a year and a half or two I've been suffering from? Overreaching politicians. I've been sitting on the side of the line because they told me I was not needed. I was not necessary. They could send me a check. They could take care of my family. I can't. They told me that my location was a super spread. Oh, not mine in particular, but the restaurants. Meantime, they kept big superstore open, as if only in the small restaurants and cafe the freaking virus come in and just tears people apart. Yes, I want to talk about politics because politics has affected my life, has affected your life, has affected everybody's life. And you know, when politics is done right, affects everybody's life in the positive. When it's not, it puts people against each other, and that is ugly. Because you get good people we love, from left, right, center. All of a sudden, they find the need and necessity to argue with each other and hate each other. For what reason? Because a stupid expert says something that makes absolutely no sense to me, but it makes all the sense to you. We have no factual reason to argue, but we do. Because suddenly, politics is a blood sport. Rather than politics, which is intended to argue, discuss, share an idea. Yours, mine, we put them on the table and see where it goes. Maybe this 20% of yours is really wonderful and 10% of mine are really great. The rest we can put them in the garbage. That is the quality of politics. Politics is not an adversarial sport. They are making it because that's how they get you and me to hate each other and lose focus about the crap they're doing every day. The nepotism, the nefarious affair they do every day. So that's really what the essence is all about. The metaphor here is, more you stay angry to each other, better it is for them. This is the politician's greatest asset. Give the people enough to get angry at each other, that way they have no time to be angry at us. In the meantime, we have squandered one of the greatest economy was created in the last 60 years. In the meantime, we have discredited the great human beings. For all his fault, the only thing he did, he loved this country. In the meantime, We had created distrust around the world about our own laundry, our elections laws. We have argued with each other about Facebook and YouTube and tweet about who bots is botting better than the other one. The reality is, as a voter, as a citizen, you have an obligation to be informed. You have an obligation to go to vote. You have an obligation to make sure that the person you're voting for is the one that you care about. His idea is what you care about. More importantly, when you do finish voting and the person gets in the office, make sure you hold him accountable, her accountable, rather than just go sit on your couch and celebrate that your team won. It's not a team sport. It's a country, for God's sake. We all in. It's the same country. If you have a crappy politicians, it's going to live in a crappy country. You might feel like, well, my crap is less smelly than yours. You're wrong. Crap is crap. There's nothing else you can do about it except waiting out and have a least of the decency to recognize that you vote for the wrong person and you should change that. You don't need me to tell you so. You don't need me to be preacher, father, educator. You already know. You know. I hear a discussion in between a bunch of customers, great friends of mine that I love and I respect, all in finance. They were talking about capitalism versus socialism, capitalism versus communism. And obviously, as a chef, I have the hopes that I would never interfere and not participate in other people's conversation unless I was invited. So I didn't. But I cannot stop thinking about the level of disinformation that people have. They never lived under this kind of regime. They consider America a capitalist society. When was that capitalist? When the Baron of Industry rules America? The Gettys, the Vanderbilt? They monopolize and squeeze every dime out of people, out of labor? Or when? When the biggest techs, now they control the world with their little gimmicks by using people as a data and not sharing their wealth with the country? While we are through these terms around as if they are making sense to someone, Wall Street is not a capitalism. Wall Street is a monopoly. I'm getting out of myself. It's a monopoly. It's the worst type form of monopoly. There is nothing more insulting to someone who studied philosophy all his life to hear those terms thrown around as if they make any sense at all. They don't. When government, media, and finance are in bed together, there's no hisb. It's just corruptions. Here what we are. 200 plus years later, this wonderful experiment called America has become the best and the worst corruption of Europe. We have a basic transplant here, everything that was wrong with us on the other side of the water. And we are trying to justify with the simplest metaphor of all. We're free. Free of what? What are we free of? For the last year and a half, they tell you to wear a mask, now wear a mask. To stay home, don't go out. Then go out, don't stay home. Use this, don't use that. That's central planning. That's manipulations. And you know how they did that? A classic maneuver of feudalism. Like the greatest emperor used to say, when people are sad, unhappy, just to give them a game and give them bread. Send them a check. Tell them that the Olympics on TV or some football game is on TV. They will be fine. In the meantime, we share the pie the best we can. And whatever is left, we tell them, well, now we have to raise a tax. We have to raise a fee. And if you're not convinced what I'm telling you, look on your gas stations. Look on your meat department. Look on your grocery. And we can always fall back and say, well, it was the pandemic. Pandemic. Ooh, that's a big one. That was declared by the WHO, but then when they took them off the word the pandemic, nobody's paying attention anymore. We still have one. So the WHO, an organization that is completely corrupt, has declared a year and a half ago that this was a world pandemic. Oh, so when I look at the world, over 100 countries were not in the pandemic, but still a pandemic. Well, whoa. And these are the same people. They said that this virus was not transferable in between animal and human. These are the same people. They said China was doing everything right and they was telling everybody that was okay, while they closed the rest of the country and they let the Chinese go around the world for the new. These are the same people. Are you kidding? You are kidding. Wow. So we supposed to sit here and listen to all this stuff and just shut up, really. Because if you do, if you talk too much, they're going to close down your business. Because if you close too much, customers will not come. Is that what we are? Well, let me tell you. You can definitely kiss my ass. I got 200 acres of land in Italy. I can go cultivate the potatoes, olives, grapes, and eat fruit and live better than most of you. And it's not because I don't care, because I do care too much. That's why. Because I care you as a human being, as a brother, as a citizen, that you not get abused by these people. You not get taken advantage of these people. You not just sit there and take it like nothing you can do about it. Yes, you can. You know what you can do? First of all, exercise your vote. Stop voting the party line. Vote about what is right for your country, not for is right for your party. Stop serving the monsters. And start taking whatever those idiots they tell you on TV as experts, supposedly expert. How can they be expert if they're wrong every single time? How many wars you going to go before you figure it out that the only reason why you're there is because there's a bunch of crooks in the Pentagon and a bunch of crook in Wall Street and a bunch of crook in Washington, D.C. and around the country. They make it billions of dollars on the back of the American people, blood and sweat of wonderful human beings that the only thing they want to do is serve their country. How long is it going to take for all of you before you figure it out? How tragic it has to get before you actually start looking at your country and say, how can you fix other people's country? Why can you fix yours? When you have millions of people living on a poverty level in a country where they waste $7 trillion on two wars that meant absolutely nothing to no one. What is it? What is it going to take? Who are you waiting for? The Messiah to come back again and make this country a better place, the world a better place? No. My friend, don't wait. He's not coming. What's coming? It's more corruptions. What's coming? It's more nepotism. What's coming is more lies. What you needed to do is wake up and stop paying attention to idiots who sells books on TV. And look in your neighbor, look in your citizen, your friend, your family, regardless what their party is, and see why we live so fine together. We are good neighbor. And I don't know anything about them. I don't know about anything about the politics. I respect them. How can I help them? How can I help ourselves? What can we do to make our town better? Why we allow people to sleep on the street? Why do we not find any empathy for people less fortunate than us? We allow citizens from all over the world to come here, jump the walls, commit crimes because a bunch of illegal cartel making money off these people. Why don't we actually fix the immigrations, that we allow good people from other country who have the skill and the desire to be here and be a part of this society and do like they did for thousands and thousands of years, go where they find better life. I give them an opportunity to be a good citizen instead of to live in the shadows. What is going to take? And this is always going to be Republican, Democrat. liberal, conservative, left wing, right wing, center wings, no wings. Is this it? Can we just sit down one time and just start talking? I mean, really talking. Stop yelling, screaming. Stop telling me what's wrong with me, what's wrong with you, what's wrong with everybody. Nothing's wrong. What is wrong? We're not talking to each other. What is wrong? The politicians figured out that if they can put us against each other, they can have free reign on the rest of the country. You believe someone like our Speaker of the House, Pelosi, that she has the best intention in her heart? Really? How many years she's been up there? And how many years we have this crisis? You know there actually was a Johnson, a president you probably don't even know or remember, that actually trying to fix the poverty line by giving them a welfare check? That was over 60 years ago. What happened then? Huh? What happened? More people are on welfare today than have been. You know why? Because we actually impoverished the country by low down the scale and raise up the cost of living. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be a mathematical scientist. You don't even need to be a social expert. We are talking about things that don't matter. Taking down a bunch of statues, talk about race theory, critical race theory. You know what it really is? The greatest slavery of all? Not have a voice, not existing, not being seen. To live in a country and nobody knows that you exist. Now that, my friend, is the worst of all. At least the slave has a purpose. As a disgusting, insulting, inhumane that is, he has a purpose. The other ones, they don't exist. It's the worst human humiliation of all. So here's my metaphor to you today. Metaphorically speaking. Yes, we can talk about wine, we can talk about food, we can talk anything you want. But when we talk, let's listen to each other. Let's reach within the best of us and remind ourselves that we are on this world for a very brief time compared to the lifespan of the earth. Let's leave a little tiny mark of positive empowerment to our fellow men, to our brothers and sisters. Let's don't become slave and submit ourselves to a bunch of people just because they told you a better story or they convince you that they're going to take care of you. My friend, it's in there. It says, whom take care themselves, they will take care of others. The greatest metaphor of all is in the Bible when Jesus was walking on the street and saw two cars broken wheels. And one rabbi was on his knees praying for God, and the other guy was screaming and yelling and swearing and lifting and tried to put the wheel. And Peter says, how are we going to help the rabbi? He goes, why? He's just praying. Let's help the other one who's helped himself. And that's the point. We always want to extend our helping hands to people that want to help. People that want to be a good citizen. My only prayer is that we stop screaming and yelling and shaming people. You have all the things you need. You have a therapeutic. You got vaccines. If you need it, take it. If you desire, take it. If you want to wear a mask, wear it. You don't have to explain why. Nobody needs to know why. If it makes you feel better, more comfortable, do it. That is the beauty of America. That is the greatness of America. Let's don't lose that. Let's keep that freedom. Let's keep that independence. Let's keep that individual liberty. Because with that, we can actually help our communities. We can help our brothers, sisters. We can help the rest of the world. But the moment that we become just another country with the same pathetic leadership who tell us when to get up, where to show up, you lost everything. But most of all, you lost the greatest country on the face of the earth, America, where maybe not perfect, but always striving for a better. And that is a symbol of a great country and the hope of a great, great future. With that, I leave you with this. I truly love this country because the Constitution. On the end, Italy is a beautiful country, absolutely beautiful. But the freedom that I breathe in this country, I never felt anywhere else. I hope we never lose that. I want to wish you a wonderful weekend to you and your family. And you have a great day now. Ciao.